This is News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon and welcome to Live at 4. Madison's new rapid transit bus routes are in service today. The new system launched on Sunday, but today is the first day students and workers in Madison will be using it for their daily commutes.
Our Maddie Heimsch and Merrill Hobart join us now with team coverage of the new system. We'll begin with Maddie, who's out at one of the stops to break down what you need to know. Maddie.
Yeah, hey guys, so I am at the High Point, bus stop right here on High Point and Mineral Point. Like you said, it's just rolling out. This new system is just rolling out. It actually came out yesterday, but today being a Monday, it's the first day that workers, students, everyone in Madison is going to be using these for their daily commute. So rush hour hasn't quite hit yet, but when it does, that will be the real test. So we're going to toss a map up on your screen. So Rapid Route A is the red one in service today, traveling between Junction Road and the Sun Prairie Park and Ride, and buses are scheduled to come every 15 minutes. We spoke with Mick Roosh. He's the Chief Development Officer of the Metro Transit. We talked to him this morning, and he's reminding everyone to be patient as this system rolls out. It's just as new to those bus drivers as it is for us passengers. Take a listen.
Overnight, we went to a third of our fleet is all electric vehicles, so we're still getting used to those buses. So drivers are getting acquainted with that. Drivers were trained all summer to drive BRT routes, but yesterday was the first day it was actually in service, so everyone was getting used to that. So it's just a lot of getting used to everything.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm on the High Point bus station, and all the stations now are in the middle of the road. You've probably seen them as you've driven by. So traffic coming on either side, you cross that crosswalk to get right here, and that's how the buses come and pick us all up. And then another thing to be aware of, we now have these Metro Fast Fare cards, and each station has one of these machines where you can grab your card, load it, reload it. And again, that's how you get on all entrances of the bus. You can get on the front, middle, back. They all have readers for these cards. So we're gonna have more on how to use these in our next half hour, but for now, for those of you who are driving on the road in these lanes with the buses, you've seen those red stops. We're going to go to our Merrill Hubbard. I think she's just getting on the road now. So Merrill, as a driver, tell us what we need to know.
Yeah, Maddie, well, we know that the BRT is long awaited, but there's still some things that people are adjusting to. We actually are about to get right on the road and see how people are navigating through those big red bus lanes. Now, the big thing to remember is to stay out of the red lanes. There is very clear signage so you can see where the red pavement is, and that's where the buses are going to be driving. Some sections have some white checkered lanes where you can actually move into that lane and make a left turn. Metro Transit says they understand this can be confusing, but I talked to a local driving instructor to see what he thinks.
This is kind of new to me, like it is to everybody else. Where it's dotted is where the turn lane for cars starts, so and it does take a little interpretation, I guess.
That is Ed Wright with Pan American Driving School. He's been giving lessons on these roads for over 40 years, and even he's adjusting to this new norm. Now, coming up tonight, we're going to hear more from this local driving instructor, but for now, we're going to get on the road, so we're going to switch gears back to being in studio. Yeah, back to you guys in the studio.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Merrill and Maddie. Now let's get a look at your first one forecast with meteorologist Jacob Manasana, who's outside. Jacob, much cooler outside than it's been the last few weeks or so.
Yeah, Jalen, and me and you were talking earlier. We like this kind of weather. I know some people are not as happy about it, but temperatures are going to warm up a little bit for the middle and end of the week. Right now, 67 degrees. It definitely feels very comfortable out here. We are seeing more cloud cover now than we did earlier in the day, and we're going to continue to see increase in cloud cover throughout the evening and overnight. Right now, all of Dane County in the upper 60s, a few lower 70s out there, but certainly cooler compared to last week. Pretty similar to the temperatures we saw yesterday. And as we look at the evening forecast, again, we are going to see a good amount of cloud cover around sunset. Temperatures will be dropping into the upper 50s in the early overnight hours and then lower 50s in the later overnight hours. We also have a small chance of rain as we head closer towards Tuesday morning. If we do see rainfall, it will be very light and very brief. Best chance of rain will be for areas east of Madison, but this is not expected to be a big issue. Now, we are going to see temperatures warm up, like I mentioned. I'll talk more about that and track our next chance of rain after the rain tonight coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, we'll see you then. Right now, the Dane County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help in finding a missing man. Take a look at your screen. This is 65-year-old Timothy James Campbell. He was last seen Saturday evening wearing a jacket, gray shorts or red sweats, glasses and hearing aids. The sheriff's office says Campbell left his group home in the town of Roxbury. Officials say he's without his medications that, if missed, could result in a medical emergency. Campbell has a history of running away to the Sauk City and Lodi area. If you think you see him or have any information about where he may be, call the Dane County Sheriff's Office at the number on your screen. That is 608-255-2345.
Several businesses on State Street are dealing with damage to their storefronts today. Madison police say they found these windows smashed along the street at 3:45 this morning. They received reports of a disturbance between West Gorham and West Johnson Streets. When officers got to the scene, they found a 31-year-old man with a brick in his hands. They took him to jail. He's facing charges of felony damage to property, felony bail jumping, and recklessly endangering safety.
Violent crime is going down across the country, including here in Wisconsin. The FBI has new information out today showing overall violent crime dropped 3% within the last year. We're seeing the largest decline in murder rates in decades, with a nearly 12% drop from 2022 to 23. Reported rapes dropped more than 9%. Meanwhile, property crime decreased 2.4%. And here's what it looks like in Wisconsin. Violent crime increased between 2019 and 2021, but since then, we've seen a steady decrease. Murders came down by the dozens from 2022 to 2023, and reported rapes went down by the hundreds. Overall, it's the state's lowest rate in violent crime in 5 years. Wisconsin's at a 10-year low, with violent and property crimes decreasing by the tens of thousands from 2013 to 2023.
With the release of those numbers, the White House is touting its policies, providing communities and police with funding. Still, guns remain the #1 killer of children and teens in the country. Here's what one member of the Biden administration's Office of Gun Violence Prevention had to say about that and what's next.
We're definitely not done. But I think we're driving towards, being free from gun violence. You might not know this, but in Boston, they've seen less than 15 homicides for the entire year, city of Boston, right? Those are the kind of numbers we're aspiring to, right? We're trying to get to the place where we're seeing single-digit homicides in our cities, where more people are alive than before. And
Wilcox says later this week, the administration will be focused on new actions it can take on gun violence prevention.
Before the end of the month, you'll be able to order free COVID test kits. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has not set a specific date for that yet. You'll order them through the covidtest.gov website. After that, USPS will ship the test directly to your home. Each house can order as many as 4 test kits each. The HHS says you'll be able to use them through the end of 2024. It comes as the government is again encouraging people to get an update on their boosters ahead of the fall and winter respiratory virus season.
Coming up on Live at 4, where lawmakers are at with a government funding bill.
And a new way to get your flu vaccine, how they work and when you can get them when we come back.
By the time this ad is over, Karen will know if that feeling in her chest is AFib or just the end of a stressful day. It's that easy. Peace of mind that fits in your wallet. Cardia Mobile Card is on sale now at cardia.com or Amazon. And now, Cardia Mobile Card is HSA FSA eligible.
It's your thing. When you need inspiration, it's worth shopping Pick and Save. For thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And low prices that add up to big savings, like over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $2 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Pick and Save, fresh for everyone.
I've never slept a full night in my entire life. I was 5 years old when my stepfather abused me for the first time. I just felt like I was alone on a planet with a monster. I was 12 when he impregnated me. I just remember thinking, I have to get out of my skin. I can't be me right now. Like, this can't be it. I didn't know what to do. I was a child. I didn't know what it meant to be pregnant at all. But I had options. Because Donald Trump overturned Roe v. Wade, girls and women all over the country have lost the right to choose, even for rape or incest. Donald Trump did this. He took away our freedom.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
With Chevy trucks, be ready for adventure. With power you can count on. Capability that doesn't compromise. A hard-working EV with more range than any competitor and the potential to take you anywhere.
Get 0% financing plus make no monthly payments for 90 days on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups. Or get $5,750 total value on this Silverado. See your Badgerland Chevy dealer today.
The suspect in the apparent assassination attempt of former President Trump will remain behind bars for now. While in court for a detention hearing, a judge ruled 58-year-old Ryan Ruth will have to stay in jail, citing evidence in the case. Authorities say earlier this month, Ruth had a rifle while hiding in the trees where Trump was golfing earlier this month. Prosecutors say a witness has a letter Ruth wrote detailing a planned assassination attempt on Trump. Right now, Ruth's facing 2 charges on guns, but more could be on the way as this case progresses.
Lawmakers have 1 week to avoid a partial government shutdown. On Sunday, Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson released a plan to fund the government until December 20th. It comes after the House failed to pass a 6-month funding extension last week. It included a bill to bar citizens from voting, which is already illegal. That bill's known as the SAVE Act and is not included in this continuing resolution. Former President Trump has previously called for lawmakers to shut down the government if the bill wasn't part of the resolution.
Law enforcement in Birmingham, Alabama are looking for multiple people involved in a mass shooting over the weekend. On Saturday night, shooters opened fire in the bustling entertainment district as part of a targeted attack that killed 4 people and hurt 17 others. Police say all of the victims are between 21 and 27 years old, and the target was among those dead. At least 4 injured people have life-threatening injuries.
Do not tell me this is only on the police to solve. Elected officials, locally, statewide, and nationally have a duty to solve this American crisis.
In a statement, the White House says President Biden is coordinating with federal, state, and local officials as the investigations continue. It has also said both Biden and Vice President Harris will continue to call on Congress to ban assault weapons, high-capacity magazines, and require background checks for all gun sales.
This week, leaders from around the world are gathering in New York for their annual General Assembly. We're taking now a live look at Manhattan, where the United Nations headquarters is located. It's happening alongside Climate Week in New York City. The president's expected to give a speech there, touting his administration's climate agenda and drawing contrast between Democrats and Republicans. That speech is scheduled for tomorrow. All week, there will be several speeches and high-level meetings focused on world conflicts. That includes the potentially broadening war in the Middle East. Tensions in the region rising as Israel and Hezbollah continue to trade strikes against one another. The latest strike from Israel killing hundreds of people in Lebanon. U.S. officials say they're concerned that the meeting in New York could further escalate those tensions. CBS News' Chris Livesay has more details about what's happening on the ground.
Israeli missiles slam into southern Lebanon. The early morning silence shattered as Israel targets Hezbollah weapons, hidden, it says, sometimes inside residential buildings.
We advise civilians from Lebanese villages located in and next to buildings and areas used by Hezbollah for military purpose to immediately move out of harm's way for their own safety.
The onslaught comes after a week of strategic blows to Hezbollah, from exploding pagers and walkie-talkies to a strike in southern Beirut that killed the top commander of the U.S.-designated terror group that's been lobbing rockets into Israel for nearly a year. Some of them landing in the suburbs of Haifa over the weekend, not far from the Rambam Hospital, Israel's second largest. Doctors and nurses are now taking dramatic evasive measures.
This is supposed to be a parking garage. You can see the parking space numbers painted on the wall, the arrows on the ground, but it's become a fully functional hospital. In fact, they've already had their first childbirth.
We could do major surgery here, and we have done it.
Dr. Avi Weissman is the director.
How many hospital beds are we talking about?
So altogether, we could squeeze in here 2,200 hospital beds.
We're in a bunker with many, many more beds. What does that say about the war?
We need to be prepared for the worst case scenario.
Now it's here in the north, Israel says, where the war effort is shifting. But that doesn't mean it's forgotten about Gaza in the south. Over the weekend, 2 schools were struck there, killing more than 20 people. Israel says at least one of them had been turned into a Hamas command center. And overnight, a strike on a residential house killed a mother and her 4 children. Already caught in the crossfire, more than 1 million displaced Gazans this morning also had to contend with severe flooding.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he's now weighing plans to lay siege to Hamas's remaining forces in northern Gaza. But the main focus here has clearly swung towards Israel's much bigger and better armed enemy, Hezbollah, in Lebanon, where airstrikes are ongoing. Chris Livesay, CBS News, Tel Aviv.
And Jacob is back with a look at your first warn forecast. I know that you are enjoying these cooler, more fall-like temps.
Yeah, they are going to remain at least in the 70s going forward. We may even see high temperatures in the middle 60s before the end of the 10-day forecast. Now, here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. Small chance of rain this week. We're mostly looking at highs in the 70s this week. They will warm up a little bit. But after tonight, our next chance of rain won't be until next weekend. Now, this has been a pretty dramatic shift in temperatures. Before Sunday, we had 12 straight days in the 80s. Pretty uncommon for September, from September 10th through September 21st, but the high on Sunday was 68 degrees, which was 19 degrees cooler compared to Saturday, and today was a very similar day temperature-wise. Highs were in the upper 60s, lower 70s. This 91 in Viroqua is obviously not accurate, but overall, definitely you can feel the difference in temperatures if you step outside. And looking at the forecast for tomorrow, upper 60s and lower 70s once again. So today, tomorrow, and yesterday, very similar in temperatures. A few showers to the east, but overall, we're not going to see much rainfall. They will rise into the middle 70s by the middle of the week, but then by the time we get to next week, they're going to drop a little bit. And then by the middle of next week, we're going to see high temperatures possibly in the middle 60s, which actually won't be too far from average for this time of the year. We are starting to get to that season where, on average, we're going to see high temperatures more and more in the 60s. Now, as far as precipitation goes, we've seen a lot of it the last 4 days, over 5 inches of rainfall. Meanwhile, from August 1st through last Wednesday, we had less than 3 inches of rainfall. So just like that, we have now skyrocketed in our average precipitation, or compared to the average precipitation, where we've now had over 8 inches from August 1st till now. And just a few days ago, we were below average compared to what we normally see during that time frame. And now we are way above it. Pretty crazy how quickly things can change like that. Now, despite the light rain tonight, we're going to be fairly dry for the rest of this week. Rain chance increases over the weekend, and the reason for that is right now, although it's not a tropical storm, this system is expected to strengthen into a tropical storm and hurricane, and the remnants of it will push up north into the Great Lakes region, but it also could bring a very dangerous situation in Florida. This will develop over the next couple of days, and we'll continue to update you. But for now, they are expecting a hurricane to impact portions of Florida, and then that rainfall as it pushes north will impact our area, and then it will cool the temperatures down by the middle of next week.
Thank you, Jacob. And here's your reminder, there's 1 week left to donate to our Coats for Kids drive. We're partnering with the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County, Clinky Cleaners, and Magic 98 for the 39th annual Coats for Kids drive. Through Saturday, October 5th, you can drop off new or gently used winter coats at any area Clinky Cleaners. And we're also looking for hats, gloves, mittens, scarves, anything to keep kids warm this winter. For more information on how to help, just go to this story on channel3000.com.
Now, you may want to check your fridge because H.B. Hood is recalling 5 types of its 96-ounce cartons of lactate milk. According to the FDA, the products might have traces and amounts of almond, which could be life-threatening for people with allergies. The milk went into retailers in more than 24 states, including here in Wisconsin. So far, fortunately, there haven't been any reports of people getting sick, but people with the products should return them.
New research could help doctors identify which women are most at risk of postpartum depression. In a small study of pregnant women in Germany, researchers found activity in a specific area deep in the brain that's linked to the regulation of negative emotions. The researchers say larger studies are needed, but they hope that testing for this activity will eventually lead to better care for new mothers.
Next year, you'll be able to give yourself a flu vaccine from the comfort of your home. The FDA has approved an at-home version in the form of nasal spray. It's been in use against the flu since 2003, but only for people with prescriptions and some other healthcare settings. People who are between the ages of 2 and 49 can get the spray, but will have to undergo some sort of screening. The vaccine does contain a live but weakened version of the flu, so it's not for everyone.
So there are certain conditions that are not able to take the flu meds, such as if you're on immune-related medications that suppress your immune system, you have HIV, and there's some particular immune-related issues that you'd have to talk to your physician or your clinician to make sure that that vaccine is right for you.
The spray is expected to be available in time for the start of next year's respiratory virus season. You can order it online and receive it in the mail. Experts hope it will encourage more people to get protected.
Well, still ahead, Will Loper takes a look at how the latest Transformers movie did at the box office this weekend.
And we'll have that and whether he thinks it's worth to buy a ticket when we come back.
Democrats say everything's great, but when you're on a fixed income struggling to pay for gas, groceries, or medicine, it doesn't feel great.
Biden-Harris created this mess.
And Tammy Baldwin's been right there with them.
25 years in Washington. What's she done?
Raised taxes.
Added trillions in new debt.
And gave stimulus checks to illegals.
I'm Eric Hovde. I approve this message.
I'd like a stimulus check.
I'd like you to take out the trash.
Psoriatic arthritis symptoms can be unpredictable.
One day, your joints hurt.
Next sits on your skin.
I got Cosentix. Feels good to move.
Feel less joint pain, swelling and tenderness, back pain and clearer skin, and help stop further joint damage with Cosentix. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentix. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur. Some are fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur.
I feel better.
Check out these moves. Just bust a move.
Ask your rheumatologist about Cosentix.
Announcing the winners of Madison Magazine's Best of Madison Readers Poll for 2024. Congratulations to Don's Home Furniture for their win for Best Furniture and Best Outdoor Living and Services. See all the winners on MadisonMagazine.com.
When it comes to winning internet, TDS is in a league of our own. Just like the Green Bay Packers, Wisconsin born and bred, we live, work, play, hire, and get involved in the communities we serve. Like delivering the green and gold standard of internet. 100% fiber internet that's as fast, powerful, and reliable as your other hometown favorite, the Packers. TDS, internet that's built Wisconsin strong.
Need to update your landscaping? Get an 11% rebate on the whole project at Menards. And add the finishing touch with your 11% rebate. How will you spend your rebate?
Save big money at Menards.
4 years ago, in this alley, rioters threw a brick at my face and knocked out my teeth. Why? Because I was a police officer. And what did Kamala Harris do? While America's cities were burning, Kamala was defending peaceful protest. She raised millions to help bail rioters out of jail. and supported defunding our police, making us all less safe. Kamala Harris is dangerous.
Preserve America PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Oh, hello and welcome back. A new Transformers movie didn't exactly transform the box office this weekend.
It's a little surprising, especially for people my age.
Yeah.
But Will Loper has a look at where new weekend releases rank in the Loper Report.
Hey, Brady and Jalen. Transformers 1 struggled to rev up at the box office this past weekend, making a disappointing $25 million. But despite that, should you hitch a ride with Bumblebee and head to theaters to see it?
You ready? Always ready. Let's punch in.
Transformers 1 is an animated film showing the beginnings of the relationship between Optimus Prime and Megatron, first known as Orion Pax and D-16, voiced by Chris Hemsworth and Brian Tyree Henry, as they work to uncover a conspiracy on their planet of Cybertron.
It's an SOS message from the surface.
Fantastic!
It's time to show them we are more than meets the eye.
The all-star voice cast also includes Scarlett Johansson, Keegan-Michael Key, and Lawrence Fishburne.
Take these and access your full potential.
The voice work is top-notch, helping to bring the world of machines on a humanless planet to life, especially since the animation on these faces are not especially appealing.
We roll out.
What? But the story remains engaging throughout, as it slowly reveals how these friends became the enemies we know them as today.
What happened to my best friend?
It also just so happens to be several magnitudes better than Michael Bay's live-action versions.
Bumblebee.
If you're a Transformers fan or have little ones to entertain for 100 minutes, Transformers 1 is worth seeing and is playing in theaters now. For Live at 4, I'm Will Loper.
Awesome! That's what I'm talking about.
You know, I'd go see it.
I would. He convinced me. I'm going to go check it out. Yeah.
Okay. Well, look at that. So they can add to that $25 million, the disappointing $25 million box office.
What's that, about $15 or so between you and I?
Yeah, saving the movie industry. Yeah. Well, still ahead on Live at 4, a local church is launching an alternative to traditional Sundays with a worship and a meal.
May have to check that out. Why one pastor thinks it'll help bring community members together.
Join Stoughton Health's Dr. Aaron Schwab on September 26th to learn about simple outpatient treatments that can alleviate varicose or spider veins. To register for the free educational talk, visit stoughtonhealth.com and click on Classes and Events.
This ad is a complete lie. The truth is, Tammy Baldwin's never shared inside information with her partner. And Tammy Baldwin's leading the fight to ban senators from purchasing any individual stocks. It's Eric Hovde, who owns a $3 billion California bank. And Hovde's bank takes millions from unknown foreign interests, meaning we'd have no idea who Eric Hovde would really be working for. Eric Hovde, what's wrong with this guy?
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
Nobody wants to put a new roof over their head. It's too expensive. And if they can extend the life of that roof and get 5 more years or 10 more years, it's a no-brainer.
What RoofMax does is it helps people in that they don't have to spend that $15,000, $20,000 on a new roof. They can spend pennies on the dollar.
The RoofMax product was a small percentage of cost of replacing a roof.
This is a great financial decision for us as a community.
Right now, we're running our 60-60-60 sale, so when you purchase your new concrete coating, you get a $60 Visa gift card plus either 60% off installation or 60-month no-interest financing. This is one of our best deals of the year, so visit our website or call the number for your new floor today.
After careful review of medical guidance and research on pain relief, my recommendation is simple. Every home should have Salon Paws. Powerful, yet non-addictive. Targeted and long-lasting. I recommend Salon Paws. It's good medicine.
I want to turn to the issue of abortion.
Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans. One does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government and Donald Trump certainly should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
No more waiting to see a general surgeon. Stoughton Health can see you within a week. We accept over 160 insurances, including Dean Health Plan and Quartz. Ask for Dr. Aaron Schwab, board-certified general surgeon. Learn more at stoughtonhealth.com.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Oh, that's a beautiful video of outside in Wisconsin. A few clouds, pretty sky. I like that.
Yeah, I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. That looks pretty Irish-like,
Yeah.
or the Shire-like, if you ask me. Yeah, I like it, but a lot cooler than it's been at, you know, what we saw towards the end of the summer. So I'm loving it.
And I don't see any weather words, so I'm just going to say it's fall, y'all. Jacob Montesano's out on the patio. Jacob?
Those are perfect weather words, honestly. And it's very funny how the temperatures dropped the moment that astronomical fall started, which was yesterday. 19 degrees change in temperatures, and that normally doesn't happen right at the change of the season like that. So taking a look at the current conditions, 67 degrees, that's roughly the high temperature from today as well. Upper 60s still across Dane County, a few lower 70s for some locations, but overall, it's been a very comfortable day and a lot cooler compared to last week. I say comfortable, you know, I think it's comfortable. I know many people may think it's a little chilly. Now, as we take a look at the evening forecast, we are going to see temperatures dropping into the upper 50s by the early overnight hours. Overnight lows will be in the lower 50s, and we also have a chance of some rain, mainly for areas south and east of Madison and Dane County. But the majority of the rain will stay to the southeast of our area entirely. If it does rain, it will be very light and very brief. We're not expecting this to be a big issue. We then will be dry for a good portion of the week, but rain is in the forecast for the end of the week. I'll talk more in detail about that and give you the temperature forecast coming up a little bit later.
Thank you, Jacob. Madison's new rapid transit bus routes are in service today.
Yeah, the new system launched Sunday, but today is the first day students and workers in Madison will be using it for their daily commutes.
Maddie Heimsch joins us with what you need to know. Hey, Maddie, and Merrill Hubbard, we'll get to her in a moment. But first, Maddie.
Hey guys, yeah, so I'm at the High Point station, kind of taking you through the ins and outs, what you need to know before you get on one of these new rapid transit buses. So right now I have one of these Metro Fast Fare cards. These are how you get on and off the bus. I'm going to take you over to this machine. They're at all the bus stations, and you can load, unload your card here. So you have add funds for your fast fare. You hit that. You can also buy those single passes like you used to. You can tap the card, and then right here is where I would put in my card or cash to load up this card. And like I said, this is how you get on those buses. So on every bus, this is where the rapid comes in. They have the front entrance, the middle entrance, and the back entrance, and they all have readers. So you can tap them on any of those, hop right on the road. And speaking of hopping right on the road, our Merrill Hubbard is on the roads of Madison. She's navigating through those red lanes, and I'm going to toss it to her now to tell you how the traffic's going. Hey, Merrill.
Yeah. Hey, Maddie, how you doing? So we are driving on Mineral Point Road right now and looking at the bus rapid transit boxes. And actually, if I turn my camera, I can see Maddie Heimsch right there, which is pretty funny. Wasn't planning that. It just worked out that way. But yeah, we've been driving up and down Mineral Point, and I was actually here earlier today. And I was out with a driving instructor from Pan America, and we didn't see a lot of people going in the red bus lanes. There's Maddie. Oh, amazing, beautiful. But yeah, we didn't see a lot of cars driving in the red bus lane, but people get confused on this checkered part right here because they don't know if they can go over, but you can navigate through those and then take a left turn when you're ready and just try to avoid the main red bus lane, of course. And so, yes, coming up tonight at 6 and 5, we're going to talk more to that driving instructor that I mentioned. He's been being a driving instructor for over 40 years, so we're going to hear more about how his curriculum is changing and what he's noticed as people are driving out here. But for now, we're going to switch gears back into the studio. So Jayla and Brady, back to you guys.
I thought we were going to get a carpool karaoke joke somewhere in
Maybe
there,
next time.
Sounds good. Thank you, Meryl. A man is in jail after allegedly damaging multiple downtown businesses overnight. Madison police say they found these windows smashed along State Street at 3:45 this morning. They received reports of a disturbance between West Gorham and West Johnson Streets. When officers got to the scene, they found a 31-year-old man with a brick in his hands. They took him to jail. He's facing charges of felony damage to property, felony bail jumping, and recklessly endangering safety.
Here's a look at the stock market's closing numbers today. The Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ are all up. Wall Street adding just a little bit to its record highs.
In an effort to increase turnout, one local church is offering a new way for people to worship.
United in Christ Lutheran Church in Morrisville is introducing Open Table Dinner Church. Now this focuses on providing a way of doing church differently than you would typically see on Sunday mornings. The Holy Cow food truck will provide dinner for the service, which combined worship and a meal all in one. It's all part of a larger push to emphasize community and make people more comfortable in places of worship.
This congregation is open to trying new things, even if we know they may not work. We've tried things that haven't worked, but we go back to ourselves and ask, what did we learn? We know from all of the research that's out there that people are still looking for community, and churches can still provide that.
The truck will be available to anyone who shows up, following a pay-what-you-can model. The first Open Table Dinner Church will be at 7 on Wednesday, September 25th.
And when we return, the issues you care about most.
How the war between Israel and Hamas is affecting how voters feel about the election.
Welcome to Oakmont Senior Community in Verona. Active seniors 55 plus will enjoy our new luxury apartments, professionally managed by award-winning Attic Angel. Call Demery today for a tour and reserve your place at Oakmont.
Their Bidenomics led to the highest inflation in 40 years, highest gas prices ever, skyrocketing interest rates, unaffordable housing, incomes down, unemployment rising, and a recession now headed our way. Yet Kamala Harris is clueless.
We are very proud of Bidenomics. Bidenomics is working.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Fall is just around the corner. Let the experts at Feldco get your home ready for the cooler temps ahead. Right now, buy one window, get one free, plus no interest for 3 years. It's the perfect time to make valuable upgrades to your home and save more money in the process. Our custom windows are built in the U.S. to the highest standards and made to withstand the harsh Midwest weather. Buy one window, get one free, and soon. Hurry. Call now.
Call 866 for Feldco.
This is a hallway. Doesn't evoke much feeling. But to those facing cancer or a complex condition, it feels like relief. Because all the doctors, treatments, and technology you've been fighting to find, they're all right here, under one roof, connected by hallways instead of highways. East Park Medical Center, coming soon. UW Health, remarkable.
When a crane collapsed during construction of a Major League sports stadium, 3 workers lost their lives. Their widows called us. When maintenance workers were permanently injured by an industrial accident at a public utilities power plant, the 7 injured workers called us. When a factory exploded, injuring dozens of workers, 18 victims, including all 3 families of men who lost their lives, called us. Because Wisconsinites know who to call when it's a must-win scenario. They call Habish, Habish & Rotier. National reputation, hometown service.
Welcome to Oakmont Senior Community in Verona. Active seniors 55 plus will enjoy our new luxury apartments, professionally managed by award-winning Attic Angel. Call Demery today for a tour and reserve your place at Oakmont.
New at 5, the new bus rapid transit system is in full swing today. We walk you through the ins and outs of all the changes for bus riders.
In just 4 days, southern Wisconsin picked up over 5 inches of rain, and there could be even more in the forecast. We're going to track it all out tonight at 5.
And ahead at 6, we take you for a ride to give you a first-hand look at the new bus rapid transit lanes from the road. See how it could impact your daily commute tonight at 6.
We're back with some breaking news.
That's right. Former President Donald Trump is coming to Wisconsin this week. The Trump campaign says the former president will be at the Prairie du Chien Area Arts Center on Saturday. Doors open at 8:30. Trump is scheduled to arrive at 11:30. Trump's campaign says he plans to talk about immigration and border security.
We are continuing our Three for the People series this week with a war across the world dividing voters here at home.
The Israel-Hamas conflict has been the subject of political rhetoric, campus protests, and more right here in Wisconsin. Armand Rahman spoke with a political science expert today to break down how many people may have their votes swayed by this. Armand?
That's right, Jalen and Brady. What I aim to find out for voters is what the U.S.'s foreign policy has been on Israel and Palestine, and what former President Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris's goals seem to be in bringing the conflict to an end if they were elected. UW-Madison political science professor John Peavyhouse says the U.S. has been supportive of Israel since President Harry Truman recognized it as a state in 1948. And while presidents as recently as Joe Biden have been critical of Benjamin Netanyahu's refusal to negotiate with the Palestinian people, Peavyhouse says now the most any president can do is express displeasure at the way the war's been fought and push for a ceasefire.
Abandoning Israel is not in the U.S. interest. I don't think Harris believes that, and Trump certainly doesn't believe that. So then, short of that, what do? Well, you could do things like only sell certain types of weapons to Israel. But ultimately, for the war to end, right, Hamas and Israel have to come to some type of ceasefire agreement.
But what Peavyhouse says voters have to weigh in November is which candidate reassures those who are worried about Israeli security or which reassures them about Palestinian rights. And I'll have Peavyhouse break down both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris's views and how they plan to act on the war in the Middle East tonight at 6.
So, Armand, Israel's pager bombing targeting Hezbollah in Lebanon, that's thrown a new wrench into the conflict in the region. So how much should voters expect that to change either candidate's position?
Well, the UW professor actually did touch on that with me. He says that if this escalates into a full war between Israel and Lebanon, he expects both candidates to be much more firmly behind Israel because that would preserve the country as an ally there against Iran. I'll have actually more on that tonight on News 3 Now at 5.
All right. Thank you very much, Armand.
All right. Sounds good.
Well, when we are back, we have more Three for the People coverage.
We sit down with CBS News Director of Elections and Surveys for his analysis of the latest polls.
We all know costs are too high, but while corporations are gouging families, Trump is focused on giving them tax cuts. But Kamala Harris is focused on you.
Building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency.
She'll make groceries more affordable by cracking down on price gouging. And she'll cut housing costs by taking on corporate speculators. Middle-class families build America. We need a leader who has their back.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
They get it. They know how it works. And most importantly, it works for them.
I don't have any anxiety about money anymore. I don't have to worry about a mortgage payment every month.
It allowed me to live in my home and not have to pay payments.
If you're 62 or older and own your home, you could access a portion of your equity to improve your lifestyle. A reverse mortgage loan can eliminate your monthly mortgage payments and put tax-free cash in your pocket.
It was the best thing I've ever done. And really? Yes, without a doubt.
These folks know. Finance of America can show you how a reverse mortgage loan uses your built-up home equity to give you tax-free cash.
It's a good thing.
So look, why don't you get the facts like these folks did and see if a reverse mortgage could work for you?
Call Finance of America and get your free info kit. Call 1-800-791-1557.
Brian Style worked to overturn Roe v. Wade, called it a great victory.
Brian Stiles' victory banned abortion in Wisconsin, and his agenda would ban it nationwide, with surveillance of pregnancies and restricting birth control and fertility treatments. Peter Barca fights to protect our freedoms, not tear them away.
He backs Wisconsin's law enforcement, firefighters, and unions.
And Peter does what's right no matter what party it is.
I'm Peter Barca, and I approve this message.
Fry Construction has done it again. For the 5th year, we've won the prestigious Best of Madison Award, and it's all thanks to you. To celebrate, we're offering 29% off our exclusive Absolute Gutter System with any full roof or siding project. Our gutters are custom fabricated on-site for a perfect, seamless fit that's engineered to excel. Don't just beautify your home, beautify it with the experts you trust. Call Fry Construction today and let us show you why we're the best of Madison.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
It's hard to believe, but it's true. Even the liberal media was shocked Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners and illegal aliens.
Every transgender inmate would have access.
Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
A new CBS News poll looking at how things stand post-presidential debate finds the race for the White House clearly remains a contest. Either former President Donald Trump or Vice President Kamala Harris can win.
And Harris seems to be benefiting from some of the latest news on the economy and from her performance in that debate. To make sense of the numbers, we spoke with CBS News Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto, about whether the views on the economy have changed and has that affected the trends of the general election.
Hey there, Brady, Jalen, great to talk to you. Let me show you views on the economy and what's happened, because we've seen an uptick in the number of folks who say they think the economy is good. Now, to be clear, that's not a majority, and these numbers have been low for a while, but to the extent that these numbers do tick up a little bit, yes, after that rate cut, after a lot of people in the polling say they report gas prices in their area coming down, you see a impact there on vote in the sense that Kamala Harris tends to win voters who say that the economy is good or getting better, or that their own personal financial situation is good, whereas people have been hard hit by inflation who say that their financial situation is bad tend to be voting for Donald Trump. This is an important difference in dynamic in this campaign, because what we've seen then is Harris has cut into Trump's advantage, and he still has one, among voters who say that the economy is a major factor. This is one of the reasons, I think, behind that slight shift we've seen toward Harris in recent weeks. And does she catch Donald Trump on this? That remains to be seen. But narrowing that gap on what is such an important issue to so many voters has certainly helped a little bit, guys.
Now, some of those comments made about migrants that took place in Springfield, Ohio, a notable battleground state. What are the current numbers that we're seeing in battleground states such as Pennsylvania, Michigan, and here in Wisconsin?
Well, across the battlegrounds, I showed you it was +2 Harris, which is effectively even, because so many of those states, each of those states, could still go either way. If I show you the individual estimates that come out of our CBS models, you see, same story, even. This is effectively even in Wisconsin, right, at +2 Harris. It's dead even in Pennsylvania, as it has been. Michigan, effectively even, +1 Harris in the estimate. These states in the upper Midwest and then across the Sun Belt, similar story. All states that we think could still go either way. And I know it's an old cliche to say it all comes down to turnout, but it really does depend on that. First in the polls, how you model the likely electorate, and then on election day, who shows up. There's still some variance in that, and I think that's really what's going to determine all of this. It really will come down to turnout, guys.
Well, and last question before we wrap up. There's obviously a lot of momentum on the Democratic side for Vice President Harris. She's energized that base. But has that changed the general election at all? What has changed about that and what hasn't?
Well, one of the things you note is that there are very few persuadable voters. And by persuadable, that means people who are undecided or who say they could still change their minds. That number is less than 1 in 10. And frankly, depends how you define persuadable, probably even smaller than that. One of the things that you've seen is an uptick, to your point about the Democrats. Since Harris became the nominee, we've seen increasing numbers of Democrats who say that they are likely to vote. And that's one of the big reasons we've seen the Democrats catch up to the Republicans in that part of the polling. So that's number one in terms of change. But number two, you know, we do see these small shifts as a result of the fact that there are so few undecided or persuadable voters. This is an example of just from August, where we had the estimate at 50-50, and now we have it at 51-49 in the battleground states. That's not a large shift. Maybe we don't expect large shifts going forward. That's just how tight right now this contest still is, guys.
And onward we go. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
Election season is still in full swing, and swinging around the corner is now fall. Jacob Madison joins us now with the first one forecast. Jacob.
Thanks, Jalen. Here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. We are going to see a small chance of some rain tonight, but temperatures will warm up a little bit throughout the week. Likely going to stay in the 70s. Unlikely we'll see any 80s this week. And then we'll have more rainfall by the time we get to next weekend. So let's take a look at how much precipitation we have seen now for the month compared to normal. We have skyrocketed above the normal. Just a few days ago, we were pretty much at no precipitation for the month. We've gotten over 5 inches in just the last 4 days. And meanwhile, we continue now to increase in the departure from normal for the entire year. So we have continued to see wet conditions throughout the year. We did have that little bit of a dry period the last month and a half up until the last 4 days, but these last 4 days have really completely changed the narrative of recently. And if we take a look at the drought monitor, which hasn't reflected on the rainfall we've seen, the drought monitor that releases Thursday definitely will, but it shows you that we definitely need that rainfall because drought conditions have began to form. My guess is, though, they'll diminish quite a bit by next drought monitor. Now here's a look at the rainfall chances going forward. Very small chance tonight into tomorrow morning, and then we're going to be dry for the rest of the work week with increasing rain chances by the time we get to the weekends. Now let's take a look at those rain chances for tonight one more time. Clouds will increase throughout the night. We are going to see most of the rainfall stay to the southeast of our area entirely, with areas east of Dane County and also south of Dane County having the best chance to see some of these light showers. But if it does rain, it will be just that, very light and also very brief. So again, not going to be a huge issue. And once we get to the overnight hours Tuesday, we're certainly going to be dry, and then we'll be dry for the rest of the work week. Now we do have some activity in the tropics right now. This is not a tropical storm yet, but it is expected to strengthen into one and then strengthen even further into a hurricane and really impact portions of Florida. Now the reason I'm showing this is it's going to possibly produce a lot of impacts in Florida, and also the remnants of it will track up north into the Great Lakes region and bring rain to our area. And after that rainfall, we may see those cooler temperatures return with highs possibly in the middle 60s for the middle of next week. And by the time we get there, those will be pretty close to the average highs. The average high by the end of the 10-day forecast is 67. So although it will feel cold, that's what we normally see. So for the rest of this work week, pretty quiet, then rain over the weekend. Overall temperatures staying in the 60s and 70s.
This election is about 2 very different visions for our nation. One focused on the future, and the other focused on the past. When the middle class is strong, America is strong. Lowering the cost of living will be a defining goal of my presidency. I'll lower the cost of insulin and prescription drugs for everyone, and I will work to pass the first ever federal ban on price gouging on food. More than 100 million Americans will get a tax cut. We will end America's housing shortage by building 3 million new homes and rentals that are affordable for the middle class. Together, we will build an economy where everyone can compete and have a real chance to succeed. Now is the time to chart a new way forward. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Shop from the largest selection of Chevy trucks and SUVs in Wisconsin at Bergstrom Chevrolet. All with Bergstrom's negotiation-free upfront pricing, including our exclusive 7-day price protection and money-back guarantees. Stop in or shop and purchase at BergstromChevrolet.com.
Quartz takes a different approach to health insurance. We know every life well lived is a journey, and we're here to light the way at every step. That's why for 40 years, we've been alongside the doctors and hospitals who know what their communities need. Because they're a part of them. Because we're a part of them. There's a fire burning in all of us. Let's ignite it together. Quartz. Find your spark.
At 5, the new bus rapid transit system is in full swing today. We walk you through the ins and outs of all the changes for bus riders. Then we get behind the wheel to show you how it could impact your daily commute. That's coming up next.
A war explodes a world away, creating divides here at home. Arman Rahman and a local expert break down the history of U.S. relations with Israel and Palestine and how candidate policies could sway Wisconsin voters. Free for the People, tonight at 6.
Let's take a look at this. This sleeping little girl found herself the subject of an intense search in Louisiana after reportedly sleepwalking to a forest about a mile from her home. The 10-year-old, who officials say has a history of sleepwalking, was actually reported missing.
Search efforts intensified after someone's trail camera captured a photo of her close to a mile from her home. The Webster Parish Sheriff's Department said hundreds of volunteers were involved in the search, but it was a hired aerial drone company that located the girl sound asleep in dense woods. Officials say despite the threat of dangerous woodland wildlife, the girl was unharmed and is back home where she belongs.
Glad she's okay. Can you imagine just waking up in a strange place because you sleepwalk there?
Yeah, no, that's how you end up being raised by wolves or something.
No thanks. We'll be right back.
Prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on investing right now in you, the American people. And we can chart a new way forward. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
There are over 21,000 Wisconsin veterans struggling to pay for rent and utilities.
Thank you for your service.
Many are also facing issues with their mental health.
Thank you for your service.
We must do more to help these heroes who have already sacrificed so much.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service.
Words simply aren't enough.
I'm sorry.
Make a difference by donating to this critical Wisconsin survival safety net today.
Gas, groceries, school supplies, everything costs more. Eggs are almost twice as much as they were 4 years ago. Biden, Harris, and the Democrats keep telling us things are better. They aren't better. And Tammy Baldwin is making it worse. Raising taxes, running up debt, voting for spending that's driving inflation. 25 years in Washington and she's done nothing. It's time for a change.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message.
4 years ago, rioters set this Minneapolis police station on fire, trying to burn me and my fellow police officers alive. Governor Tim Walz left us for dead. And Kamala Harris?
This is a movement, I'm telling you. Everyone beware. They're not going to let up, and they should not.
She raised millions to help bail rioters out of jail and supported defunding the police. Kamala sold cops out and put families at risk. Kamala Harris is too weak and too dangerous to be president.
Preserve America PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising. Their Bidenomics led to the highest inflation in 40 years. Highest gas prices ever. Skyrocketing interest rates, unaffordable housing, incomes down, unemployment rising, and a recession now headed our way. Yet Kamala Harris is clueless.
We are very proud of Bidenomics. Bidenomics is working.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
And that's a wrap for today's Live at 4. Brady's in the newsroom with what's coming up.